Yesterday we were talking about this bhavana bala, the power of meditation, the power of practice, in which the exhaustion of energy is the main, is in the forefront, with the concept that whatever undertaking you do, virya is the main. So long as you possess virya, anything should be accomplished. One can accomplish anything with virya. Virya in three forms, three stages, continuously, without any gap or slackness or cowardliness, in which case soon you are bound to come to the stage of the knowledge of the arising and passing away in a swift manner, fleeting away of objects, and this will come to you very soon. At that stage, these 7 factors of enlightenment, Bojjhanga, becomes apparent. Without extra energy, without the exertion of extra energy, these things, the 7 Bojjhangas, will become apparent. Now, Satipatthana is practiced with virya in the forefront. As a result of that, there will arise this Sati Sambojjhanga, the enlightenment factor of Sati or mindfulness. As much as you apply Sati, you are bound to see things, see the realities, namely the discernment of mind and body, that this is the noting mind, this is the noted object, and progressing along the path, opening the way to insight. Until you see the fleeting way of objects, which is part of your wisdom, insight, that is realizing this Dhamma Vijaya Sambojjhanga, the enlightenment factor of the investigation of states, Dhamma Vijaya. Seeing the conditionality and the things, the mind, body, psychophysical phenomena subject to conditionality will arise and pass away, giving the old giving place to the new in a very fast manner. Initially, you are practicing with the exertion of energy as the main thing, as the thing in the forefront. So you cultivate energy, virya, which is known as aradha virya, the sustained energy. This will gain momentum. In order to note the ever-arising object, not to miss it every second of the practice, you are applying this initial launching energy. When you meet difficulties such as physical pain and slackness or laziness, you step up your energy. That is the second stage of energy. So this aradha virya, sustained energy, so called because you have already initiated energy and you are building up. The energy builds up its momentum automatically. At which stage this kind of virya, called Pegahita virya, the uplifting energy, the energy which will uplift your mind instead of stagnating or lowering it. Instead, the energy will go up and up and will become energized until at last you come to attain the paripurna virya, fulfilling energy. This aradha virya or pegahita virya, when you reach that stage, that is sustained energy or uplifting energy, then the practice will not be like before. The energy, the exertion, the practice will go automatically without extra effort. So once you're able to do that meticulously and clear-cut manner, you're about to see the fleeting away of objects, the old giving place to the new, so that you become very satisfied, and you will feel being lifted up, levitation, like sitting on a sofa, soft cushion, or floating in the air. And you will not wish to disrupt or to change your sitting position. You want to go on sitting. You want to sustain your sitting posture. Feeling chills and thrills, bobbing up and down. Such as the strong form of piti, rapture, known as pallava piti. At this stage, both body and mind becomes peaceful, tranquil, and there's no restlessness or worry. The object and noting mind seems to be homogeneous instead of being different like before. Previously there might have been some restlessness and worry, but now you feel very peaceful, blissful peace, and then you will feel this permeating kind of joy, like water oozing out of the rocks. The joy will ooze out of your body. So at this stage you will experience such rapturous feeling, tranquility, feeling of well-being, and there's no restlessness or worry. At this stage we are said to have come to the stage of Upekkha Sambhojjhanga, the enlightenment factor of equanimity or balance, because we have practiced, we have exerted energy as the main thing, making energy, keeping energy in the forefront, noting every object energetically, especially when you're noting the four objects: physical object, sensation, mental object, and general objects. You are able to note them in the spirit of the Satipatthana. Then this Bojjhanga, the enlightenment factors, will become apparent in its own right. And such a power is known as Bhavana Bala. As we have discussed, we discussed that yesterday, and we wound up our talk at this stage. Today we shall continue on. When you develop this power, when you come to possess its power, that is seeing the fleeting of objects and the fleeting momentary nature of experience. At this kind of knowledge, you will experience the old giving place to the new in a very fast manner, in an extraordinary, unusual manner. This is unusual power, which we call Panya Bala. Instead of saying Bhavana Bala, taking out Bhavana, we put Panya in place of Bhavana. Thus we have this Panya Bala, the power of Panya, the power of wisdom or knowledge. Seeing the fleeting way of objects, mind, body objects, psychophysical phenomena which are subject to conditionality, you come to possess this discriminating knowledge, that is Panya Bala. And whoever comes to possess this will become self-reliant, so that one will not be moved. There will be no quivering, no shaking. will not be moved, will not be overwhelmed or shaken by ignorance, simple unknowing and knowing in the wrong way. Because one is knowing and knowing, there will be no more unknowing. So we can say that this knowledge dominates or has a controlling power over ignorance. It gains the upper hand. That's why Piññā Pala becomes Piññendriya. The wisdom power, the power of wisdom will become the controlling power or controlling faculty of Piññā. Such is the insight knowledge. Because of this Piññā Pala being able to dominate over opposite states, we call it controlling faculty of Piññā, Indriya. And because it has the power of controlling, it is known as Indriya. So that this Piññā becomes Piññā Pala and Piññendriya at this stage of insight knowledge. And we will be able to withstand or repel undesirable opposite states, withstand against opposite states or the opposite states. And then your insight knowledge at this stage is said to have reached the stage of controlling faculty, or come to possess the power of controlling. Once you come to observe these psychophysical phenomena which are subject to conditionality, the old giving place to the new, you come to see you are said to have come to maturity, seeing that they are impermanent. That is the three in the form of three parts, namely genesis, arising, aging, and dissolving or dissolution. These are the three parts you will come to observe as regards this psychophysical phenomena which are subject to conditionality. At this stage you begin to cultivate this knowledge of impermanence. This is insight knowledge. At this stage the knowledge is insignificant. The insight is still weak. Only when you come to the stage of the fleeting momentary nature of experience, the insight, the knowledge will become significant, strong and powerful. From the stage of immaturity, your knowledge will become mature. You reach maturity, so that you gain the upper hand over the hindrances to progress, nivranas, and you develop stamina, spiritual, mental stamina. Because in the stream of consciousness there is this insight arising, so that as the mind becomes developed from the small stage, and as your mind reaches maturity from the stage of immaturity, you'll be able to possess stamina, withstand against the opposite elements, and you'll be able to sit for a long time and walk for a long time mindfully. And then you'll be able to develop a lot of patience, and this is kind of insight which is very unusual and extraordinary. And such insightful awareness will have these qualities, such as sharpening of insightful awareness, becoming expanding, and it shines bright and clear. There will be clarity and brightness, and then it becomes progressive. So what are the reasons for that? why are these things happen? Why is your insightful awareness come to possess such qualities, which I've discussed today, both from the theoretical and practical aspects? When you are noting, sometimes your knowledge tends to sharpen and clear cut. You'll be knowing the objects, the nature of the objects. Your knowledge will sharpen, knowing the objects clearly, in a clear cut manner, penetratingly, so that one object is not mixed with others in a discriminating manner, in segments, clearly knowing it. That is due to the cultivation or practice of samadhi bhava, samadhi phala. That is power of concentration. Concentration which has the quality of dominance, quality of controlling faculty of concentration. With this help, you are able to sharpen your knowledge. You are able to clarify your knowledge, or clarify your awareness. This means that when you are noting rising and falling, or every arising object of attention, beginning with the primary objects, every second of the time, you are noting so that the noting mind seems to penetrate the object to be noted, aiming energetically, precisely, to be precise, thus sustaining your mindfulness, so that it enters into the object, penetrates the object. And at this stage, this is because your concentration is very strong. And as you sustain your mindfulness continuously, and as the mind falls calm and collected on the object, deepening your concentration, then there will be no restlessness of the mind, no gap, the mind will not be removed from the object of observation. Neither will your noting mind go away or leave the object of attention. Then the noting mind will be sustained permanently on the object of attention. For instance, when you are noting rising, your noting mind will fall on these essential qualities of all sensations, such as stiffness, tension, and so on. Thus sharpening your knowledge will sharpen. You will observe these things in a very sharp manner, clear-cut manner, and not in a vague manner. And these objects, such as these sensations, such as stiffness, tension, and so on, will also be observed in segments, not as a whole thing, not as one continuous thing, but in segments, in a very clear-cut manner, such as the sharpened insight knowledge, Vipassana knowledge, and with whose support this quality occurs. It is the support of the concentration, samadhi. Because of the samadhi power, the power of concentration, this one happens. As much as you are able to deepen your concentration, your knowledge is bound to sharpen and be clear-cut, not in a vague manner. That's why sometimes these yogis tend to report to the teachers that when they are noting rising, it was not like before. Their awareness is very sharp and clear-cut, not in a vague manner. That is because of the power of concentration. That's why this fixed law, niyama, as one notes with deepened concentration, one's insightful awareness is bound to be sharp and clear-cut. So whoever wishes to note objects in a very clear-cut manner with sharpened knowledge, whether one is observing rising and falling during sitting, or lifting, moving and placing during walking, one should be able to note so that the noting mind seems to penetrate the object of observation with energetic aim, so as to sustain your mindfulness. Then there will be this sharpened insight knowledge. So one should understand in this way that as one penetrates, as one's noting mind penetrates the object, then one is bound to deepen one's concentration, and one's awareness will become very sharp and clear-cut. Though with the power of samadhi, one is able to cultivate this insightful awareness in a sharp manner, clear-cut manner. There are objects which are not noted, which are forgotten, which are missed. So, about these objects, there may be overshooting or missing or losing or forgetting, like missing the target when you are doing this in your target shooting, target practice. When you are aiming at the target with the arrow or the gun, you, instead of hitting the target, you just overshoot it or miss it. So this is very important. It is important that you aim at the target, so as to be able to hit the target and not to overshoot it. So every arising object should be noted so as not to miss them in a sustained manner, with steadfast mindfulness. For instance, when you are noting rising, you note this rising meticulously with attention so as not to miss it from the beginning to the end. The same thing with falling, noting the falling object from the beginning to the end, so that you will not be missing or overshooting or jumping over or slipping off these objects, in this case rising and falling. This applies to whatever arises in your body and mind. During walking also, when you are watching, lifting, moving and placing, not to miss it, not to so overshoot it, not to jump over it, not to be away from the object, not to jump off it. You should note as though you penetrate the object. Otherwise, there will be missing and overshooting. If you don't do with proper aiming at the object, at the target, then you will miss it. You won't hit the object, hit the target. So as not to happen like this, you should apply the steadfast mindfulness, sustain your mindfulness, not to miss anything. As white, whatever object you note, the awareness will become very strong and panoramic or expansive. Previously, with the constant power and concentration, you are noting just one object, because your noting mind falls calm and collected on one object at a time, so that you know the nature of that object. Now, with the power of sati, mindfulness, you are seeing a variety of objects. Although in the main, your main object is one thing, you will be knowing other objects as well, although they are not the main. So that your insightful awareness will become strong. Strong means there will be no slackness. And panoramic, expansive, means when you are noting one thing, You not only know this one thing, but you also know other things as a result of this one thing. You're intending to know one thing, but you will know a variety of things. For instance, let us say you're noting rising. There will be no just one rising. There will be stages of many risings, in which there will be these sensations such as pushing, pulling, heat, cold, pressure, things like that. All these sensations will be known. Although your intention is to note rising, but you are knowing not only rising, but you are knowing other things together with rising. Although the main thing is one, at the same time you know a variety of things. Hence this expression, the insightful awareness, becomes strong and panoramic or expansive. That is due to the power of mindfulness, sati. Hence this niyama, this fixed law, that is as one activates mindfulness, with the power of mindfulness, the insightful awareness will become strong and panoramic or expansive or wide. So whoever wishes to widen their insightful awareness, whoever wishes to strengthen your insightful awareness, will note so as not to miss that object. Instead, know the object, not to miss it every second of the time. So in this way, this insightful awareness will become strong and panoramic as a result of this satindriya, the controlling faculty of mindfulness. Not only strengthening and the panoramic, the widening of the awareness, but there will be many things, a variety of things known, hence this bhavana developing. Not just one thing, but many things, without purposely noting them. In this way, insightful knowledge will become very strong, and will be able to see things in a variety, and many things will be known. Such is the power of sati, mindfulness. So in this connection, one yogi once came and reported to Sayadaw, saying that when he or she was noting rising and falling, first of all, he or she was not noting properly, and it's just overshooting, slipping off the object, and the awareness is not steadfast, not sustained on the object, and the mind also goes away, becomes restless. Later on, when she tries to note so as to penetrate the object, then he or she was able to experience this insightful awareness in a very unusual manner through his or her own experience. So as one notes meticulously so as to penetrate the object, when one knows the object, one knows whether one is penetrating, one's noting mind is noting as though it penetrates the object or not, or whether one's mindfulness is not sustained, is sustained or not sustained. One is bound to know by oneself. If one is not being able to penetrate the object and not sustain on the object, then the insightful awareness will not be sharp, will not be strong and panoramic. So this report of the yogi, that he or she was able to cultivate his insightful awareness in a very unusual manner, is quite satisfying. So whoever wishes to strengthen their insightful awareness, he or she should be able to note whatever arises in the body, beginning with the primary object of rising and falling and other objects. not thinking, not taking that the main object is not important. So one should note objects beginning with the primary object of rising and falling when you are sitting. So if one does not take care of the main object, one will not only miss the nature of this main object, but also miss other objects associated with it. There's a variety of these objects, so that one's insightful awareness will not become strong and panoramic. So, just like when you are doing this target practice, if you overshoot it, if you miss the object, that is because your arrow is not sharp, it's blunt. So too with the mindfulness. When you're noting every arising object, you should do it not to miss it, otherwise your noting mind will become blunt and not sharp. And note it so as to hit the target in a steadfast manner. So one should understand that as much as one's noting mind reaches the object in a steadfast manner, one is able to cultivate this insightful awareness in a very sharp, strong and panoramic manner, seeing variety of objects at the same. Though one's insightful awareness will become panoramic and strong, there are sometimes these unusual events which yogis may come across or experience in the course of the practice, so that with these unusual experiences they may become elated. And as regards the awareness or the knowledge that they have gained, or the benefits that they are experiencing as a result of the practice in a very unusual manner, in which case yogis tend to become attached in a very subtle way to such experience or objects at that time, because the mind is not drawn towards the objects of sense of objects, because one is experiencing the Dhamma delight, which excels manifold the worldly delight, worldly pleasures, taking that such delight, Dhamma delight, is good, but it's satisfying. How nice! And I wish I could experience this Dhamma delight continuously, all the time. Then one may have that kind of thoughts. Such a tender or subtle form of attachment, just like when there is sediment in a clear water. When water is clear but there is some sediment at the bottom, if you shake it, all the sediments will come up to the top, and the water will become unclear or impure. Same thing goes with the mind. There will be these mental sediments if there is some subtle attachment. Then the mind will not shine bright and clear, and the inside of awareness will not be bright and clear. And it is necessary that your awareness, insightful awareness, should become clear and bright. Now when such a thing happens, that is subtle attachment to the delightful objects or experiences, there will become a disturbance, and the mind will not be clear. Instead it becomes slimy, so to speak. In that case, you should not fail to note all these Dhamma delight, delightful objects or delightful experience. Note the attachment, subtle attachment which arises in your mind. Then the mind will become clear and it will shine bright, free of sediments, as a result of saddhendriya, the controlling faculty of saddha, or faith and confidence. As a part of this faith and confidence, the insightful awareness will become clear and bright. So that is the result of this the power of faith and confidence. So we have this fixed law, niyama, that is, with the power of saddha, faith and confidence, the insightful awareness shines bright and clear, and will become very active. So for yogis who are in such a situation, experiencing such Dhamma delight, Dhamma experience, and instead of just becoming attached to this without end, in which case they may stagnate and instead of progress, they may stagnate in their practice, so as not to allow this to happen, not to allow this mind to become slimy. They should note whatever arises, even if it's a subtle attachment or delightful experience of object, then the insightful awareness will shine bright and clear with the power of faith. This subtle attachment, experiencing the Dhamma delight, this can happen sometimes because you are seeing a variety of objects. At which stage, as a result of that, there will be this so-called nikanti, subtle attachment to the object. Then one stream of consciousness is set to become rusted, like when the stitching pin is rusted at a point, then it will not stitch properly, and it's very smoothly. So too with the noting mind, if your stream of consciousness is rusted because of the subtle attachment, then you will not be able to progress smoothly. So in this retreat, when sometimes yogis may experience this unusual Dhamma experiences, then one may become very satisfied with the practice, and there may be some elation with one's experience. Then such subtle attachment is bound to happen, in which case one should note and abandon. Otherwise this subtle attachment can hinder the progress. Therefore, in order that the insightful awareness will become clear and shines clear and bright, one should note and abandon as soon as such attachments or delightful experiences arise, so that you can remove the mental rust from the noting mind. At this stage, seeing the object passing away, arising and passing away, the old object giving place to the new, you are knowing this impermanence of the objects noted, but not yet the impermanence of the noting mind itself. You are not seeing the passing away of the noting mind as yet, so that you think that the mind is permanent, only the object is impermanent. Only when you see at the higher stage of knowledge, when the both object and the noting mind pass away, when you are seeing the passing away of object, that is also inside knowledge of the impermanence of the object. But when the noting mind also passes away, this stage is known as pati vipassana jnana, additional, let's say, inside knowledge. Then only seeing the passing away of the noting mind as well, that is the awareness as well, you will knock out or you will overcome the view of atta. That is only partially, on a part-time basis in the course of the practice. You can only overcome this atta deity, view of self, when you realize the first path.
အဲဒီပြတ်ပြတ်မသွားတဲ့ a decent lego where Atako where the Chuaro, Liban Sura, Dave, Suravoli. I do a low swaggy or level, what about it. Deeping a Josia Comale. I will look. Yes, I would Naya Sata, pretty Sita was now. How time was what Tibuya at Nima, New Child, say, Mayamini, Shapuya, the Macaliana Meta, Yeti. Panamle, Yamalamle, the show Lago, a swim again of Guriha. No Kamatansia and Nevoli, Edro, so something that be like solution or a very sweat her the man that I feeling about it, even I just say a common edition.
So only when this this knowledge, this knowing mind also passes away, we'll be able to see the dissolution of this, overcome this atta. Otherwise, one will think that this is one will cling to the permanence of this self, which is dangerous. So, at this stage, it becomes necessary. There's a saying that in order to see things in their true nature, to see the truth, one must seek a guidance or a teacher. That is, at which stage, by which this Kalyana Maida, virtuous friend, good companion or teacher is essential for one's progress. If one is not well aware of the situation, and also initially one is prone to clinging to the view of self, then if some teachers who depend on the notes decide on the stage at which you are, it will become the danger to the Dhamma, Dhamma Andre. Though the insightful awareness may be strong, sharp, panoramic, clear, bright, in the interim period, in the course of the practice, if one doesn't exert energy, there will be slackness, especially not wishing to exert energy, or even if one exerts energy, one gets exhausted very soon, then this laziness will set in. Then this slackening and lack of courage will arise. Just as when you have not enough energy, heroic energy to face the enemy, you would just run away from the enemy instead of fighting, advancing forward. So too with the practice with the energy, you must have this strong energy, enough energy to be enough energy to be able to face the enemies. Whenever there is difficulties, not to be cowardly. Exert the energy so that you have this sustained energy. First, the energy which is already initially applied, then sustain it so as not to let it go down, noting every arising object energetically, so that your virya will come to possess the quality of controlling faculty, so that it can control over adverse conditions. In this way, with the power of virya, your knowledge, insightful awareness will progress bit by bit, day by day, and so on. So in order to progress, you should have this controlling faculty of virya. Then, if one is not able to exert it, then there will be no progress. So you need this initial energy and build up this momentum so that you are able to cultivate this arada virya, sustained energy, and pagahita virya, uplifting energy, so that your practice will not go down nor stagnate. Instead, it will become uplifted. It will only progress. At this stage, there will be no cowardliness, no laziness. You will become alert, vigilant, diligent, and awake all the time. So, with the power of virya, and you'll be able to note every rising object so as to deepen your concentration, and thus there will be progress in your insightful awareness. Hence the fifth law, niyama. With the power of energy, insightful awareness progresses. So what we discussed so far now is the power of these controlling faculties, giving rise the relationship between the controlling faculties and the quality of insightful awareness, so that your insightful awareness will progress, will sharpen, will be panoramic, will be clear and bright and strong, with the power of first samadhi, sati, saddha and virya. With the help of all these controlling faculties, you are able to strengthen your insightful awareness in this way. This much for today. Sadhu, 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 sadhu.